And welcome to the Howard Eskin Show. On this, as we're doing it live, it is Wednesday night. All my guests are fun. All my guests are special. And tonight we'll talk be a little mob talk, but it'll be show business mob talk. And that would be with Steve Schirripa, one of the cast of the very successful series Sopranos. We'll talk to Steve about the Sopranos, how that all started. I want to get into all that. It's kind of interesting. It wasn't a slam dunk for him, but we'll talk about that. And he's a big sports fan. So we'll talk about that. I don't know how deep we'll get into that with the sports, but he's such a big sports fan. Of course, he's from New York. Uh, but he knows what's going on. So we'll talk to him about that. But I also want to make sure that I always thank my presenting sponsor, and that would be Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell is a sharp guy who knows his stuff, can help you. In today's world, you really need, or you should, you can do whatever you want, but you should prepare for the future. And financially, Jeff Stillwell can help you do that. Just give him a call, see what he's got to say. Regular guy, sports fan, which helps, but you can kind of digress, but you want to know about what he can do to help you with your future. And if you want to do that, give him a call, 732-343-0813, 732-343-0813. Jeff Stillwell Financial Advisors. All right, a lot to talk about besides our guest, Steve Schirripa, who will join us shortly. After we'll talk about a lot of things with Steve, things that I didn't even know. I'm sure he has the answers to. So we'll talk to him about that. And then obviously with the Eagles about to play probably the most meaningless game of the exhibition season. It's below meaningless. And I don't want to hear that players are playing for jobs. If the Eagles don't know who's going to make the team now, and I'll get into that, then they're clueless. And I know those coaches are far from clueless. They're actually pretty good coaches. So we'll talk about that after Steve Schirripa. Talk about the Phillies. And I don't know if anybody gives a flying you-know-what about the Sixers. You'd probably be able to be a flying you-know-what besides talking about the Sixers. But we'll do that after we talk to Steve Schirripa. But before we do that, I want to remind you. I don't want to remind. Well, I will remind you. Listen to my conversation with Steve Schirripa, because I will have a question. And I will come up with a question. And if you answer that question correctly, you will win a gift certificate for Chickies and Pete's. Now, you can go to howardeskin.com, and you do that by midnight on Friday, August 22nd. Watch the show on Saturday, the 23rd at 8 a.m. Either we're live on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And I urge you to subscribe to YouTube, because as soon as I come on live, YouTube notifies you, and you can get it on all the other social media platforms. And that includes Amazon and Apple and Spotify. And we will select at random the correct entries for you to win a gift certificate from Chickies and Pete's. I will, after we're done with Steve Schirripa, I will announce the winner of the Mike Schmidt autographed baseball. And that was with our question from the last show, but I'll do that afterwards. But right now, I do want to tell you about some other important people in this program, friends who are partners and part of this program. And one of them would be Audi Westchester, because they always have good things going on right now, but for a limited time only, you can lease a new 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron for $499 a month, or an Audi Q4 e-tron for $399 a month. The electric vehicles, those two are on a special lease program You'll need $5,295 down for the Q6 and $4,156 down for the Q4, plus taxes and registration fees. These are really good. These are really good prices. Stop by Audi Westchester, their new facility, and you'll have fun just looking at the cars. Looking at cars is always a lot of fun. Have fun with those people. Grab a cup of coffee, grab some snacks. Audi Westchester, located 1421 Wilmington Pike. Don't wait. This special offer won't last long. And remember, the electric cars have a tax credit going on right now, and that's a short time. So lease the new 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron, $499 a month, or an Audi Q4 e-tron for $399 a month. Check it out, AudiWestchester.com. That's AudiWestchester.com. Also want to tell you about Piazza Property Pros, who do an excellent job, whether you want them to build a pool, an in-ground pool, whether you want them to make your property look nice with landscaping, excavation, maintenance, whatever it is. Piazza Property Pros. Remember the name and know that for 25 years they've been doing this. So they've got experience. They do not subcontract, so it's their people. Great customer service. All the work is done by their people. That's important. Excavation, hardscaping, fencing, landscape, pool maintenance. If you already have a pool, you want to build a pool, I suggest you probably procrastinated. Don't wait any longer so that pool is ready for it at least next season, maybe a little bit this season. You can trust Piazza Property Pros to deliver exceptional results on time within your budget. Call 610-566-2608. Call them today, get a free consultation. That's 610-566-2608, or check them out, piazzaoutdoor.com. And welcome back to the show. And joining me now, star of stage and screen, and he is on the stage and he is on the screen, and he's had a sensational career, which is far from done yet, and that would be Steve Schirripa. Steve, welcome to the Howard Eskin Show.
Hey, Howard, good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, it's great to see you. It's just, your life has spanned so many different shows and stage and so many different things you've done. But The Sopranos just lives forever. And it's now back on HBO. How did that come about? And from what I understand, I don't think you were a slam dunk to take that job when they offered it to you.
Well, I had a full-time job. I was the entertainment director in Las Vegas at the Riviera Hotel. I had been acting as a hobby, few lines here, few lines there. That was all just a hobby to me. It was just fun. I had no intention of trying to make a career out of it. By the time I got the audition for The Sopranos, I was 40, 41 years old. I had a, pretty big job there, executive at the hotel. I had a big house, 2 kids. I wasn't going anywhere. And then, I went to New York for a wedding. I auditioned for the role of an FBI agent, thinking maybe I could get a couple lines, and they asked me to read for this role of Bacala, and that was it. I came back the next week, flew myself out. First year, I kept my full-time job, and I paid my way. Like I said, I had dough. I was okay, so I paid my way, put myself up. And then the following year, they made me a series regular, which is something that at that point that I really wanted.
When you in a show like that, you never know how long it's going to go. And in a show like that, because it's all about the mob and people get whacked and people are gone. Were you worried that you could have been whacked in the show? And obviously,
Absolutely, 1,000%. I mean, that was a worry for everyone. I didn't buy an apartment in New York until after the show was over. I was always worried to get killed off. The first thing I did when I started making money, I paid my house off in Las Vegas, figuring, all right, they kill me off, all else fails, we're just pack up and go back, and we got a place to live. That was the first thing I did, pay the house off, and then I was clear. Uh, it was a big concern with everyone except for Jim. I mean, obviously the show could have went on. He was the only one where the show couldn't have gone on. Every other character could be gone. It didn't matter, including Carmela. I mean, it was Tony Soprano was the only person, right? So everyone had that worry.
So it could happen in any year. So you
Sure.
don't know. You go from year to year, and you don't know
You do
if
not
you're going to
know.
go beyond that year, right?
You sign a 6-year contract, but it's a one-way contract. When you sign a contract with TV, they make you sign a 6-year contract. So you can't go anywhere, but they could get rid of you at any time.
They could, and the way they do it is they get you killed or whacked or whatever you want to
Whatever
call
it
it.
is, they could just say, we're not picking up your option.
Yeah,
For any reason. They don't have to give you a reason.
yeah.
We're not picking up your option next year. Your character doesn't work. It doesn't fit in. We're bringing somebody else in, whatever it is. So when, there's no job security, maybe for Friends, a show like that, where it's a unit where, they weren't killing off Joey, you know what I mean? On Friends or Rachel, right? So,
Yeah.
there was no job security ever. And the more they gave you to do, the more your character, wow, they're starting to give me some scenes. The more the audience was invested in you, better shot you got to get killed off.
Okay, so now you last to the last season, and what was it? The next to last show, where you got a whacked playing with your trains. Did you know going into that season that you were going to get killed off in the Sopranos?
No, no. I had no idea. I found out. I think they did it. I think it was Valentine's Day, believe it or not, and I found out early January. But it didn't matter at that point because once you had those last 9 episodes, all bets were off. It didn't matter. You were going to get paid first of all for whether you were in them or not. At that point, you're getting paid whether you do one or you do all 9. And number two, this is the way the show's ending. If it made for a better show and you were getting killed off, fine. If I would have got killed off early, like Vinny Pastore or some of the guys, I would have been very upset. That would have been very upsetting to me. Because one, as the years went on, we made more and more money. Number two, hey, this was the greatest job that you're ever going to get ever in your whole life. It's not getting any better than that.
You know what? When you think about the moments in that show, and you probably can't go anywhere, and somebody doesn't bring up The Sopranos. You probably can't go anywhere. I mean, and you make appearances and do all those kind of things. But are there moments in the show that you remember that says, "Man, this was a great episode. This was a great scene." Do you think back to any of those?
Well, sure, absolutely. I mean, listen, while you're doing it, listen, even any job, even blue blood, sometimes you look around, you go, I mean, this is just fantastic. How lucky am I to do this? I mean, people are dying. People have been trying to do this for 30 years without success. How lucky am I to work with these wonderful actors and come to work and get paid a lot of money? I know people are going to say, well, the guy's talking about money. Well, it's a job, man. I mean, it's a job,
But
and
it's
it's a good
fun.
job,
It's fun. It's it's
So,
obvious.
but do I think about that? I think about that a lot. Hey, you're shooting on the streets of New York City. You go, this is pretty damn cool. How much better does it get than this?
Yeah, it really is nice. Now, I'm going to go over, let's talk about some of the people. Now, you work with Michael Imperioli, you obviously have created not just a working relationship, a friendship. What kind of person? People don't know. Perception is reality in a lot of cases. People don't know about Michael. What kind of person is Michael?
Oh, Michael's a good friend, a very close friend, family man, very into his work. He's a musician. He's a writer. He's written novels. He wrote 5 Soprano episodes. He's a Buddhist, a devout Buddhist. Helps people. He's a gentle guy. He's nothing like Christopher. Nothing.
No, it's just, well, yeah, the character is usually not what the person is. Now, I've heard stories, and I don't know if it was you that told me or somebody else. There was a point when James Gandolfino was HBO was trying to assign him to a new contract, and he wanted the other people in the show to get paid, and apparently he either wouldn't sign unless the other people got paid, or he gave everybody, people in the cast, part of the money that he got. What's the story behind James Gandolfino, Tony Soprano?
He had a contract dispute in 2004. Once he settled that, he called each one of us, 16 people, into his trailer, and gave us each a check for $33,333. Why that number? I don't know. He
Yeah.
gave $500,000 out. You know, he did it to a lot of TV actors made more money than him. He was a generous guy. He sincerely gave a crap about you. He cared. He didn't have the power to give you raises. You know, that wasn't in his wheelhouse. He wasn't the
Mhm.
you know, but he gave each one of us a check. He was a generous guy. After he passed away, we found out that he had paid off people's mortgages, that
Wow.
he gave people money, lent people money. You know, the guy was just a generous guy. He made a lot of money. He didn't think he deserved all the money he made. I mean, he was an extremely, extremely generous man. And there's a lot of people, and I've worked with some of them. It's every man for himself. They can care less
Oh,
about you.
yeah. I know that. Well, that's kind of the business the way it is, more so today than ever in a lot of areas, whether it's radio, television, movies, TV shows. Yeah, I understand. And I only met him. The picture that I have there with him, you guys shot some scenes at the Borgata.
Yeah.
And I was doing the radio show there, and I got to meet everybody. And then there was the makeup room, and I would go back to talk to people. And then they had a party for you guys, and that's when I met James. Now, when you meet somebody like that, you say, oh, all right, they're really nice and they're really cool. But it's perception is not always reality. But perception for James Gandolfino was real. He really was a nice
He was
guy,
a
correct?
nice guy.
Yeah, and it's just and the same thing with Paulie Walnuts. I love the name. How do they come up with some of these names on these shows? Paulie Walnuts. I met him at the party. Tony Sirico, may he rest in peace. He seemed, when I spoke to him, he seemed like a really cool guy.
He was
Was
a
he? It
good
was.
guy, very charitable guy, a real tough guy. Let's not kid ourselves. And he was the most like his character of everybody. Tony was very similar to Paulie, and they wrote for him in that way. You know, they wrote a lot of things mirrored his life. You know, Tony was a very generous guy, charitable guy, good guy. A lot of laughs we had with him, but you know, he was an old school Brooklyn guy. Never had a cell phone. Didn't take his Social Security until he was forced to. Never had a corporation. Lived alone in a 2-bedroom apartment in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Wow. It
You
just,
know,
yeah, but a cool, but a nice to work with. I guess
wonderful,
everybody, the
wonderful
cast.
guy. Had a lot of laughs with Tony. A lot of
Yeah.
fun with him, man. A lot of fun.
And I met at another function. This was kind of interesting. It was a charity function in New York with Dr. Melfi, Lorraine Branco, and you were at that function. And again, she seemed really nice and cool, like a regular.
Very
Uh,
nice. Very, very nice.
yeah.
Originally from Brooklyn. Lorraine is wonderful. 99% of the cast was wonderful. Some people you get along better than with others, but nobody caused any problems while the show was going on, you know, because it trickled down from Jim, you know. Jim set an example, and so there was no diva stuff going on. There was none of that on the set, which there are on a lot of sets, but not on The Sopranos. And also David Chase wouldn't put up with that. He had been in TV a long time, and
Mhm.
his show, and he wasn't going to let anybody rock the boat, and no one did.
I don't want to bring up the guy that was an outcast because I don't think you want to talk about it. So we'll just leave that good. What's that?
Let's just move on from any of that.
Yeah, I know. All right. So there's a couple other, and I want to get to Blue Bloods too. But before we get to that, it is amazing to me. And here in Philadelphia, there was, as we love to say, and there's a guy named Joey Merlino, who was the alleged head of the mob in Philadelphia. And the mob people are celebrities in real. It's not just the show was actually a real depiction of what the mob or the mafia, whatever you want to call it, whatever the term is they like to use, they're celebrities. Did you kind of find that fascinating, where people in our society treat mob people as you guys were TV stars, and that's different. But the mob was treated. Joey Merlino is like a star. He's got a steak shop now in Philadelphia. He was in jail for over 15 years, and he comes out. He comes out as a celebrity. I don't quite get society. Can you explain that?
I don't know. I don't know him.
No, not him, but not him specifically,
I
but
he's got.
society.
I understand he's got a wonderful cheesesteak place.
Yeah.
I'd love to try. He's a very intelligent man. He's no dummy. He seems like a pretty good guy from the clips that I've seen of him. I think you could only, relate to these guys on how they treat you. The Joe Pesci character when I lived in Las Vegas, Tony Spilaccio, there was horrible things written about him. Hey, he was a friend of mine. I don't know what he did. I don't know him in that way. I just know him as a club that I worked at. He would come in. He loved his family. He coached baseball. I don't know what he did. That's all hearsay as far as I'm concerned. Listen, people like Charles Manson, for Christ's sakes. I don't know. I don't know what people do. I just go by if they're nice to me. I want to try one of those cheesesteaks. I'll tell you that. I hear good things.
Well, I'll tell you when you come to Philadelphia.
Listen, Howard, people were kissing OJ's ass.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what's the football player that killed people? What's that guy's name? The guy that killed
the wide receiver. The wide receiver.
That played for Baltimore. I don't know.
Brown or who knows? There's so many guys.
I mean, I don't. I really don't know that world.
Well, Joey, I'll tell you, Joey Merlino was on the podcast, and so many people commented on it. They rally around him. They come down to the steak shop when he's there. I'll get you a steak. I know. Let me just mention it now. You're going to be in Philadelphia for a show in November, correct? At Rivers.
November 8th at the Rivers Casino. Me, Michael, Vinny Pastor, doing our Talking Sopranos. It's a wonderful show if you're a fan. We played Philly before. We have it in a number of years. It's a Q&A, meet and greet. We tell funny behind-the-scenes stories. It's at the Rivers Casino, November 8th. But listen, I grew up around guys. I grew up in Bensonhurst, and in the 60s and 70s, I grew up all around those people. And I was friends with them, and I went to school with them.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys make a right turn. Some guys make a left turn. I just know them as who they are. I went to school with this guy. I went to kindergarten with the guy.
Right.
I don't. That's all you can go by. So.
Well, on November 8th, I'm going to make sure. Do you want Cooper Sharp on it, or what do you want on your cheesesteak?
I don't know. Do I look very particular? No. I don't look that fussy, do I?
I'll make sure. I'll talk to Joey. It's funny when he has a home down in Boca, and I went down there and hung out with him for a lot. He goes into restaurants. He's like a big time. This guy was a former
Well, he's a nice
alleged.
guy. He must
Yeah,
be a good guy if they're doing that. Good for him.
yeah. Well, yeah, he's a nice guy to me.
There
Uh,
you go. That's all that matters. That's all you can go by, Howard.
you
There's
know
no
what?
better you.
You're absolutely 100% right.
Everything else is hearsay.
Yeah, because and that's the way I treat people, the way they treat me. All right. So now after Sopranos, you're now a detective. You go to the other side of the law, and you're a detective in Blue Bloods. How did Blue Bloods come about? That's a show that lasted a long time.
They just called me, and I went in to do one, maybe two episodes, and I wind up doing 146.
It was, and Tom Selleck seems like a cool guy to work with too.
They were all great. Everybody there with Donnie Wahlberg, Bridget Moynihan. It was a great cast. Shot on the streets of New York, shot in Brooklyn. Couldn't have asked to be on a better show. I mean, I was there for 9 years. It was a wonderful experience. I think the show should still be on the air. For some reason, and no one knows. It's $1 million question why they pulled the plug because the ratings were still good, but whatever. But I enjoyed the experience tremendously. Like I said, I came in to do one. My agent said maybe two, and then they just kept calling me, and I
That's
wound up
cool.
doing 146 of them. So I enjoyed that. That was a good gig, a really good job.
That's real, and you're a big sports fan. So I see the Knicks jersey behind you. Are you a bigger fan of the Knicks, the Yankees, or the New York Giants?
Oh, I'm a big Nick fan. Big a Nick fan, big Yankee fan, not a football fan.
Okay.
I like the Giants. I like the Jets. I mean, I'm just not a football fan. I don't follow it anymore. I don't follow college football. Uh, I like the Rangers. I'm a big Nick fan. I went to a bunch of games this year, and I been since I'm a kid. That's one of my favorite things I was able to do after becoming a half-ass celebrity is getting to go and sit courtside at the Knicks. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do. And I've been there with the bad times, so I've been there forever.
The guys that run that team are from Philadelphia. Leon Rose, William Wesley,
Yeah, I know.
Worldwide West. Oh
I
yeah.
know World Wide West. Yeah, good guys. I met them in Boston. I know Jim Dolan. We went up to Boston. I think it was game two when they came back from 20. It was one of the greatest wins ever. Being in the Boston Garden and nine of us in a box jumping up and down screaming as the rest of the Boston Garden is silence.
Yeah. I
Silence.
you know what? I knew Wes when he was selling sneakers, like in his teens. That's how long I've known Wes, but he's done a lot of great things, and
Oh, yeah.
he and Leon Rose have worked together. So, all right, so you're a big Knicks fan. They are a good team now. I felt bad for Tom Thibodeau, who I knew Tom. He coached here briefly with the Sixers as an assistant, but it's usually not the coach. It usually comes down to the players. But hey, listen, things
Listen,
happen.
whatever happened, happened. He walks away with 30 million. I'm sure he's okay. There was a reason it happened. I'm not privy to that reason,
No, right.
but it is what it is.
And that's right. All right, so now you're a Yankee fan, and
I'm a Yankee fan.
you're going up and down with those guys. You are going.
Yeah, I'm hoping right now they turn the corner. I'm hoping we get a little run at this. They're not going to just roll over for the rest of the season. I think there's 35 games left. They're not just going to roll over. They're going to give it a little run here. So I'm happy about that. Let's see. Let's see what happens.
All right, so now my
I'm
daughter.
very happy they didn't sign Soto. Very happy.
Yeah, well,
That,
the
I think
money
the
that they're
best way to
giving
please
guys
the
now.
faith is Soto. And
Yeah,
I'll make a prediction. Juan
good.
Soto will not be a Hall of Famer playing for the Mets. If he stayed with the Yankees, he would have had a good shot of being a Hall of Famer. Much like Robinson Cano. For 43 million, he went to Seattle, never to be heard from again.
Yeah, it's probably a good point that I don't know that if he was going to be a Hall of Famer, he would have probably been not been a Hall of Famer with either one, but I'm going to tell you, I don't think Bryce Harper right now is a Hall of Famer.
Well, listen, you got to stay on the field. You know, Howard. I mean, is Bryce Harper? Is he going to hit 500 homers? I don't think so.
Nope.
You have to stay on the field. This is something that I'm baffled by. I don't understand. These guys are hurt. They're 25 years old. They're running to first base. They're pulling hamstrings. There is something wrong. Tommy John surgeries all over the place. Steve Carlton would pitch how many innings?
Oh.
How many pitches? I mean, are you kidding me? Bob Gibson, all these guys. I mean, and you stick it to the 100 pitches. They're hurt all the time. You have to stay on the field.
Yeah, and he doesn't stay on the field. Do you know people don't realize that Bryce Harper has only driven in 100 or more runs twice in his it's either 13 or 14-year career right now. Once with Washington and once with the Phillies, and that's it. He's not really a home run hitter in today's game because he'll hit 20, he might bump to 30, but 30 home runs nowadays is not even a big deal anymore.
I agree with you, and I just don't get that. I mean, it happens to everybody. I don't know if Aaron Judge is going to hit 500 homers.
He's got to stay healthy. Yeah,
you got to stay on the field, and a lot of guys are having a tough time. I mean, I don't know if it's lifting weights. I don't know if it's supplements. I mean, years ago, ball players. I mean, you've heard this argument a million times, but they used to smoke. They used to drink and smoke, and a lot of them didn't start getting into shape until they went to spring training.
I know it's amazing. I think I don't know if Keith Hernandez was a smoker or not, but I tell you, I never saw a guy when I didn't watch him every game because he didn't play here. I got to know Keith a little bit when he was with the Mets. He bears down on every pitch, but smokers was never a big deal. I mean, and now in baseball, you can't even chew tobacco, which you shouldn't because that causes cancer.
Yeah, and listen, I remember going to a game. Oh, what the hell was his name? He was a third baseman for the Orioles, not Brooks Robinson. He was a backup player. Chico Simone.
Oh my gosh!
Listen, I'm going way back. I was a kid, and I was sitting up close, and I saw he had a pack of cigarettes in his pocket. I could see it, and I was kind of stunned by that. I'm going, I can't believe a guy would smoke. It's like when you were a kid, you saw your teacher outside of school. You couldn't believe that your teacher would be, like at the mall or, walking down the block. It was the same kind of thing.
It's unbelievable. Well, today's players, once they sign, well, they don't smoke now. At least I don't think most of them do, if hardly any of them. But once they get that contract, and they didn't have that contract years ago that they get today. Once they get that contract, it's like Bryce Harper's got 6 more years after this with the Phillies. He's hitting about 260, and he's not going to drive in 100 runs. He's not going to have 30 home runs. It's just, but he's got.
So I don't think they're as hungry, and I also think they are very reluctant to play with the slightest discomfort because there's too much money at stake.
Yeah, and
where a guy might go, hey man, I don't want to lose my spot. I got 3 kids at home, and I got to pay college tuition, and I need this gig. And don't forget, older people realize a lot of these guys had jobs in the off season. I mean, in the 60s, they had jobs in the off season.
Yep.
There was some of the Met players used to work, in department stores, downtown Brooklyn.
It's unbelievable.
It's a whole different world. They're paid a lot of money. Good for them. I mean, I begrudge no one. Obviously, if the NBA players could be paid $70 million a year,
they're going to make $100 million in 3 years a year.
But listen, how much are the owners making? They must be making money.
Yeah, I know. It's out of control. And then they don't play Michael Jordan, and he's the best all time. I will go to the wall for that. I mean, LeBron James, I don't think's in the top 5, but that's another story. But Michael Jordan played 9 straight years, every game and every playoff game. Nobody will do that today.
Yeah.
Nobody plays more than 70 games anymore.
Well, like I say, they want, I think with the slightest discomfort, they don't want to take a chance of getting hurt and ruining their career and shortening their lifespan of their basketball career or baseball career, whatever. It's a different mindset. And, the teams are locking into these guys when they're well over their 40s and they're still being paid big money, a long-term contract. But can you deliver, or do the team owners say, I'll get my money's worth out of them? I win 2 World Series. I got my money's worth out of these guys. And
I want to touch on something you touched on briefly, and you are correct. When you say pitcher, Steve Carlton had so many complete games. I mean, Robin Roberts, back when they didn't have the same medical, he had 36 complete games one year. 36 complete games. And I remember when Steve Carlton, he had a 15-game winning streak. He and Phil Niekro were pitching. The game was in Philadelphia. I was there. He was pitching in the 11th inning. It was a 2-1. He lost it. He lost his winning streak at 15. He lost 2-1 to Phil Niekro. They both pitched into the 11th inning.
Yeah.
Nobody will do that now.
No. They won't even allow them. It's baffling to me. And I got to tell you something. It's got to be very frustrating for a starting pitcher who pitches this wonderful game, gives up, a run or two, and then he comes out in the 6th or the top of the 7th, and the reliever blows the game for him. I mean, it's got to be just, you want to bang your head against the wall.
It's exactly right. Hey, Steve, before I let you go, my daughter sent me a text. She's now, I guess she's 26 years old. She was right in the age bracket when you were on a show, Secret Life of the American Teenager. Now, obviously, I don't remember it, but she did. And she said, she sent me a text as soon as she knew you were going to be on the show. How did that come about? And what was that?
Well, I had finished The Sopranos. We finished shooting The Sopranos like April of 2007. Then the show aired, and we had a lot of things, appearances, and then Michael Imperioli directed a movie, and I was looking for my next gig. And usually, Howard, they say when you're on a long-running series, you either get a job quickly or it's going to take a really long time.
Right.
So I think it was February, but I had worked. I had worked in 2007, finish out the year. I was busy, and I got a offer to do 3 episodes of this show. Molly Ringwald was the star. Her and the daughter. And the daughter at the time was 16 years old. Nobody knew who she was. She's now a huge star. Shailene Woodley, big star now. She was 16. Molly Ringwald was the star of the show. They asked me if I wanted to do it. I read it and gave it to my then 13-year-old daughter. And I said, what do you think about this? It's a teenage show. It was a new network, ABC Family. And she thought it was good. So I paid my own way, like I once did for The Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
And after already being established, I paid my own way to LA and put myself up and took a shot, and for 2 of them. And then they started flying me and putting me up. And I did 110 episodes. And it was a wonderful job. And it was a female showrunner, creator, Brenda Hampton, who did Seventh Heaven. And it was a wonderful experience. I just played suburban dad, no wise guy, no mob stuff. Got away from that. And I think that helped me tremendously. I think that was the bridge for me to continue my career. I've been very lucky. I've worked 26 years in a row, straight, with no downtime. And I think that was it. That was the bridge. I got that job, and people saw me in a different light, and it was a big hit. And it was, I enjoyed it. I lived in New York, but I would fly every week, stay 2, 3 days, shoot my scenes, and fly back. I didn't want to move to LA. So they would fly me, put me up, and it was a good show. It was a teenage show. You would never watch it. It's a kid,
Right. Obviously. Yeah.
teenage girls, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
It's good. Hey,
But
hey,
I run into a lot of kids now in their 20s, and they watch it. Just like The Sopranos. There's kids now in their late teens, their 20s. They're watching The Sopranos. They were too young then.
yeah. One last question, and I want to tell people when you're going to be in Philadelphia again. Um, the name Bobby Bacala. I guess the writers come up with names. How do you come up with a name like Bobby Bacala? And did you have anything to do with the name?
No, 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 no. Absolutely not. No, there was no feedback with any of the actors. Very little. Very, very little. Really no suggestions. Very little. There's been a few instances, but not many. Uh, Listen, Italian slang, and a lot of Italians they're watching this in Philly. They'll call a guy a bacala. Yeah, that guy is a real bacala. Maybe not the sharpest guy. You know what I mean? You go, that guy's a bacala. We know what bacala is. It's salted cod. It's fish,
Yeah.
but it's kind of a slang term for a guy not too bright.
Okay. I would call a guy a fugazi. Uh,
And you know where that came from, right?
no.
Okay, so Bob Fugazi, he was a New York businessman. You can look this up,
Okay.
and that's why they call because he's a fake. He's a Fugazi. The watch is a Fugazi. He owned a big limo company, Fugazi Continentals. He was very against the Sopranos early on. He was a big flag waving Italian American guy. He was alive while the Sopranos was on. And Fugazi was a real person. Look him up. That's where
Wow.
they got the name.
So we learned something, and I'm sure a lot of people learned that, but you as an Italian would know better than
Maybe his name was Bill Fugazi, but he was a Fugazi, and that's where that came from.
he was a fugazi.
Like
All right.
Murphy's Law. He was kind of a phony, corrupt businessman that eventually got caught.
Okay. Well, eventually they all do, but some of them get out of it. But whatever the case. All right. Let me again tell people you will be in Philadelphia at Rivers Casino on November 8th. The show with Michael, and who else is doing the show with
Michael
you?
Imperioli and Vinny Pastor, Big Pussy. And we have
Okay.
a comedian opens up, Joey Cola. We do Q&A, behind the scenes stories. It's a wonderful. If you're a Soprano fan, it's a wonderful evening.
Yeah, I came to one of your shows in Atlantic City at the Borgata, and I want to come to that show too. So I'll get in touch with somebody there. I'll get in touch with you, and I also want to wish you an early happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, man.
September 3rd. I knew the date. I'll make sure. Maybe I'll bring you a cake. It might be stale by that time.
It'll be all right. I'm good. I'm good with the cheesesteak.
Okay.
I want to try Joey Molino's cheesesteak. I hear they're wonderful.
Okay, I'll get you. I'll make sure with Cooper Sharp and with American.
All
One of the
right.
two. Do you like broccoli rab on it or no? Do you want hot
I
peppers?
got a show to do. Come on. I'll have to wear a diaper.
Okay.
You don't want me to wear a Depends on stage. Do you?
You're the best. You are. You are
All right,
beautiful.
Howard.
All
I
right,
love
Steve.
that.
Steve,
Take
I
care of
love you,
yourself.
and thanks so much. And I'll be talking to you soon. Thank you.
All right.
Have
See
a
you,
great
buddy.
day. Thanks again, Steve Schirripa. Well, I learned some things. How about that? I learned some things. I did learn some things. All right. I want to thank again our presenting sponsor. We got more to talk about. Trust me, I got a lot more to talk about. But I want to thank our presenting sponsor, as always, Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell is the man. He can help you with your future. investments, your future, your wealth now to make it work for you in the future. Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff's a sharp guy, a good guy, a great guy. And his number, as you see right there, if you're looking at it, 732 343 0813. 732 343 0813. Jeff Stillwell knows his stuff. Also, I want to tell you about some great things going on at Audi Westchester. Uh, some great things. There's always great things going on, but for a limited time only, limited time offer, a new 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron, $499 a month, or an Audi Q4 e-tron for $399 a month. You'll need $5,295 down for the Q6 and $4,156 down for the Q4, plus taxes and registration fees. Stop by Audi Westchester. You'll have fun just looking at cars. Who doesn't have fun looking at cars? And you can get more details. Check out their new facility, a great selection of pre-owned, but this is a great deal going on right now. 1421 Wilmington Pike. Remember, right now, as we speak, also, there's a tax credit on electric cars. The special offer won't last long. New 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron for $499 a month, or an Audi Q4 e-tron for $399 a month. Check out AudiWestchester.com. That's AudiWestchester.com. Also, I want to tell you now, we're coming towards Labor Day. All right, so it's probably too late for you to use the pool now, but it's not too late to talk to Piazza Property Pros about building yourself an in-ground pool. So you have it for maybe you might have some warm days late in September or October, but you'll certainly be ready to have your pool for next year. And also to make your ground look special, whether it's renovation, Piazza Property Pros has you covered. 25 years of experience. They specialize in turning your vision into a reality with top-notch craftsmanship and unmatched customer service. All the work done by their own people. They don't subcontract. Excavation, hardscaping, fencing, landscaping, pool maintenance. If you already have your pool, you can trust Piazza Property Pros to deliver exceptional results on time within your budget. Here's the number: 610-566-2608. Call today to schedule a free consultation. That's 610-566-2608, or check them out, piazzaoutdoor.com. It was fun for sure. It is fun when you talk to people like Steve Schirripa. I want to thank him again. The other thing that, because there's so many things I wanted to talk about, and it's just, I could go on for hours. I didn't mention Jamie Lynn Sigler, and somebody brought her up. Do you know, she was very nice, very talented too. I think she's a singer as well. But you know, she's married to one of Lenny Dykstra's sons. Good kid, Cutter. She's married to Cutter, Cutter Dykstra. Very, very sharp. By the way, I didn't play. He does videos with his dog. His dog eats everything. Willie Boy eats everything. I got a, I got a great video of Ian Willie Boy that I want to play for you shortly. But I want to do that too. But there, and by the way, Aaron Hernandez was the player that killed people. I mean, Aaron Hernandez was just a bad, bad, bad human being, and he was a bad guy in college that they let him get away with things. Very bad guy. But it's just amazing. The NFL has more bad people than you'll ever know about, because a lot of people cover up for players when they do those things. But fascinating to talk about a lot of things. You know, he was on. I don't think he was on regularly, but he was on different shows with, yeah, Law and Order, and he's been on some Law and Order shows, which he was the bad guy in Law and Order too. But Steve has done a lot of things, and it was great to talk to him. And it's great to talk sports because he's a big time sports fan. I thought he was a bigger football fan, but apparently he's not. With those teams in New York, how can you be? How can you be? It's just how can you be a big football fan in New York? the Rangers were good at some point. But anyway, all right. Some other things I want to talk about. We actually let me announce who the winner. I'm going to give a Chickies and Pete's gift certificate away and I'm going to have a question shortly, so I'll give that away. But the last show, I had a question to give a Mike Schmidt autographed baseball away. It's a cool prize, and the question was the last show to give away the Mike Schmidt baseball. The question was, what was my over under for Joel Embiid and Paul George? What was my over under? Well, Joel Embiid, I had an over under of 40. I would take the under. And Paul George, I had an over under of 50. Brian Dempsey, you were selected at random from the correct responses to my website, howardeskin.com. And congratulations, Brian. And I will get that autographed baseball out to you shortly. Somebody said, Sean says, you need a gift certificate to buy crab fries at the link. You need more than a gift certificate, you need a loan. And it's not the crab fries, it's all the concession prices at the link are, I would say, disgraceful. Disgraceful. And Pat, thanks for your comments. By the way, Pat mentioned that Steve Carlton had 254 complete games in his career. He had 30 the year he won 27. Nobody's going to have half of those numbers. Pitchers are lucky whether they have 7 complete games a year. I mean, it is a disgrace. It's just it's just a disgrace that pitchers don't go that deep and managers don't let them go that deep. It's all bad. All right. The Eagles technically concluded as we speak to you right now, technically concluded their training camp because it's now closed to everybody. So training camp is technically over, although they will be training. You know, the game on Friday is, does anybody really care about the Eagles and the Jets on Friday? What do you learn? I'm trying to figure out, you know, the Eagles have some decisions to make, but they're probably close to those decisions anyway. And are what players do. Here's where I have problems when the coaches, and Nick Sirianni says nothing at his news conferences. Terrific coach. And his news conference, he's like muzzled to say, let me see, how much less than nothing can I say? They have to know pretty much who is going to start when it comes the start of the season. And it's pretty much now on the defense. They pretty much know what they're going to do. But now you're going to decide a player's ability. You're going to decide a player's ability when they're playing against second and third string players. That's how you're going to determine a player's ability when you're playing against second and third string players. You got to be kidding me. So the Jets game, it's irrelevant. You just don't want to get, you don't want players to get hurt. You just don't want players to get hurt. And that's, I don't get it. They don't play in camp. I don't know how you're going to tell. I guess it's not the physical ability; it's the mental mistakes that you do or don't make. What does the game mean? I'm telling you, if I watch 10 minutes of the game, I'd have to strap myself down to stay there more than 10 minutes for that game on Friday. It's irrelevant. And the first 2 quarterbacks aren't going to play. Jalen Hurts played 0 seconds in the preseason. Is that a good thing? I don't think so. Is it a bad thing? I'm not sure. Sometimes game competition and the joint practice, 2 days of a joint practice, when you know you can't get hit, there's got to be something with being able to feel the ground, feel the contact, feel what you're going to have to deal with in a game. But whatever. So where are the Eagles going to go? Saturday morning, we'll take a look. You know, people love this wins and losses nonsense. Oh, how many wins and how many losses? Uh, it just, and I'm going to have, I hate to break the news to you. Somebody puts Dallas sucks is his handle. Mark Lawrence has so much great information. Hey, you make the picks or you make the bets. He tries to help you and guide you in the right direction. Uh, Mark Lawrence will be with us on Saturday. All right. So the Eagles, what are they going to do this season? We'll talk more about it on Saturday, but I think 11 wins is a good thing. All right. The Phillies. They swept Seattle. Major League Baseball did the Phillies a favor. Whenever you put an East or West Coast team on the other side of the country on their last series of a long road trip, they have almost no chance. If they don't win the middle game, they're cooked. Seattle played the first game after they played Sunday night. The Phillies played at 11:45. Seattle's playing the last series of a 3-game East Coast trip. They had no shot. They had no shot. They just wanted to get home. A 6-hour flight they're looking forward to. They're probably just getting home as we speak. But probably just if they're home, they may not be home yet. And they played this afternoon as we speak tonight. Also with the Phillies, I still don't think the Phillies are good enough to get to the World Series. And the other thing that the Phillies have kind of glossed over. So I don't think Zach Wheeler, and I don't have any inside information, and the Phillies never tell you. A blood clot's no joke. All right, so they had surgery to remove the blood clot. A procedure, not surgery, a procedure to remove the blood clot. But now he's got to go on blood thinners because you got to worry. And talking to medical people, he's got to go on blood thinners for 30 to 60 days. The way I understand it, and again, nothing has come out officially from the Phillies because they're never going to tell you anything. They're trying to keep people's hopes alive and trying to keep the interest there and not have people fall off and not buy tickets for September, which are hard to sell. I don't think Zach Wheeler is going to play the rest of the year. And that includes into October because then he's got to get ramped up again. There's really no spring, there's no minor league baseball at that point. So I don't know how he would get ramped up to play, even if he was ready. 30 to 60 days of blood thinners. And you really don't want to play him when he first goes on blood thinners because any kind of contact could cause another clot. So you've got to be careful. And I said this the other day on another podcast with Dan Cilio. I don't think he's going to play the rest of the year. I hate to break the news to you. Tony says Bryce Harper got 2 home runs. Yeah, one of them when it didn't mean anything, and then I think in the 9th inning, whatever. Bryce Harper is what he is. Good player, not a great player anymore, but a good player. But he's not really a 30 home run guy. I don't think anymore. He's not a 100 RBI guy. He still shouldn't be hitting third, but that's another story. All right. So before I get to Steve Schirripa and his doggy Willie Boy, and Willie Boy eats everything. Do I want to talk about the Sixers? No, I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to waste your time. Joel Embiid's not going to start the season. I just don't see how he's going to do that. But the Sixers will never tell you that because they're trying to sell tickets, which they're not selling a little bit of right now. Who's going to pay that money for those tickets? It's just, yeah. So I'm not going to waste my time with the Sixers, and I'm not going to waste your time with the Sixers. But the Phillies are interesting. They beat Seattle. If they lose one game, they go to Milwaukee, and I think about a week. If they lose one game of a 3-game series in Milwaukee, Milwaukee has the home field if they meet in the playoffs because Milwaukee already swept them here. Milwaukee's the best team in the National League. And I don't think the Phillies are the second best team. Los Angeles showed I thought San Diego might have been the second best team, but LA swept them when San Diego went to LA. But LA and San Diego are probably better than the Phillies right now. But the Phillies would play them here. And magic number stuff, that's all nonsense. Nobody cares about a magic number. They making the playoffs is a given. It's how far you go after the playoffs. It's terrible. All right. The question for you to win a gift certificate to Chickies and Pete's, many locations, so you can use it at any one of their locations. James Gandolfini was a nice guy to all his cast members in The Sopranos. He gave, when he signed his new contract, he called every one of his cast members. I won't mention the number. You'll get extra points if you mention the number of members of his cast. He gave all those members how much money from him, just as a bonus to them after he signed his contract. I want to know to the penny how much money he gave each one of his how many cast members. You answer that question correctly and you submit it to my website, howardeskin.com, by Friday at midnight. You will win and you'll be selected at the winner will be selected at random from the correct entries. The broadcasters were saying Josh Harris is a great owner the other night on ESPN. ESPN is a tool for the NFL. Great owner. Oh, brutal. Brutal. It's just brutal. All right. So Tony Soprano. Well, it is Tony Soprano. James Gandolfini is Tony Soprano. But Steve Schirripa does a lot of videos with his doggy, Willie Boy. And that dog eats everything. You got to look at this. This is hilarious. Steve Schirripa talking to everybody with his dog, Willie Boy.
Hello, my friends. Me and Willie Boy want to wish you and your families a very happy and safe 4th of July. We're out here grilling. Willie's going to have a hot dog, and I'm going to have a beer. What's more American than that? Happy 4th of July, my friends. Be safe and enjoy yourself. It's Peroni. Beautiful.
What is beautiful? And I'm telling you, his doggy, Willie Boy, eats everything. Potato chips, hot dogs, steak sandwiches, spaghetti, you name it, and Willie Boy eats it. I wanted to give Willie Boy a shout out for Steve Schirripa. Hey, I thank everybody for joining the show. And we will see you on Saturday. And we will talk to you on Saturday. We'll get a look ahead to the Eagles season and how you think they will do. And also Mark Lawrence, because college football kind of starts this weekend. So we'll take a look at college football, have him look ahead to the pros and what to look for. So we'll have Mark Lawrence on Saturday mornings, and we will have him on this Saturday morning. And I will talk to you. We will be talking to you on Saturday's Howard Eskin Show. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Steve Schirripa. Fun guest to have. Still talking some sports, but talking about The Sopranos. And Sopranos, the reruns now on HBO, and it's really cool. That was really, I didn't miss any one of those shows. It was a great show. Thank you. Have a great day, night, whenever it is, and we'll see you on Saturday morning at 8.